I'm not cleaning this up.
Good morning. Alright. I have multiple ways to get inside the inn. Let's go see if we can't steal a key. I gotta follow the road up and around, probably. Oh, excuse me here. Up to the right.
What was I thinking coming here? I never should have left Oregon.
How come I had suddenly a 50% chance? Is that based on people detecting me? Huh. Yeah, I don't think a 50% chance is high enough for me to want to risk it. Yeah, we're gonna go investigate the garden.
Mirmazi Radit.
I need to go back this way.
city is simply beautiful. It seems the king will leave a lasting legacy after all.
Well, it's above it says. Okay. How the hell am I getting up there? I wonder if there's like a tower entrance or something. Yeah, I have no idea how the hell I would get up there. Huh. Is there a way in all the way over here? There might be. Harwood's house. Skyline says, "Why did you have to bring up Stargate SG-1? I've lost 2 days of my life again." I have not watched the show since it aired, and it's been fun. I am looking forward to getting past season 1. Season 1, in my opinion, has some of the most... I'm not a fan of all of the Planet of the Week episodes. I really like it when they get into the, like, structure of, telling more linear storylines over, 4-episode arcs, 6-episode arcs. But it's all fun. Man, this is not the way either. I have no idea how I'm supposed to get up there. I don't see any doors up here that lead anywhere. It feels like most of the episodes feel pretty new to me. I haven't watched in so long.
Mortal wares are now at the fort.
When we start an episode, there are times when I'm like, I can kind of remember bits and pieces. But most of it is just like, wait, I don't remember that at all. I did remember, like, when I watched episode 6, 7 last night, as soon as the intro started, I remembered the episode, but I didn't remember the episode until I started watching it. And then I was like, oh yeah, that's right. This is the one where, yeah, this happens. So there, I'm able to at least... remember bits and pieces, but sometimes I can't, I don't have any clue what's coming. It's been so long. Alright, this does... maybe. Still shows over there. Thandar says, Rin returns to Tamriel at last. Even the Qua sighed in relief. Much safer here. I don't see this being a legitimate... oh, Jesus. Definitely not a legitimate thing. I may have to look this up. hang on. I didn't see this
Hold on there,
before.
friend. Only soldiers and guards pass this point. No one's allowed on the ramparts. Unless they're a
hadn't found
soldier
this
or
yet.
a guard. And you don't look anything like a soldier or a guard, do you?
Why is he wearing like an airplane neck brace?
What? No, of course not. I get paid to tell people exactly what I told you. After that, well, I've done my duty. They don't pay me enough to tangle with someone like you.
Goodbye. I'm gonna have to take these guys out, aren't I?
Hey, you're not allowed up here! Don't let them pass!
Why are you suddenly telling me about item durability lost? Oh, because I probably haven't repaired in a while.
We have the traitors. Now we need to eliminate the remaining loose ends at the inn.
Somewhere in here, I have a whole bunch of repair things. By the way, do I have that? No. Aha! There. Everything's repaired. Good to go. Okay, let's see here. What's up, Napier? What's my favorite MMO? I usually go with Lord of the Rings Online. Just for a comfort level. It gives me everything I want. But also Star Wars: Old Republic. But it's also because I know those IPs like the back of my hand. So, yeah, they're dated. And I would love it if there were more modern editions. But at the same time, I don't really play those games enough to care anymore. And I also recognize that they're just an important part of evolution in terms of the gaming industry, my gaming history. So I don't mind dipping in from time to time and playing those older games for nostalgia's sake, but they haven't been modern games in a very long time. Doesn't change my enjoyment of them.
Leads us to victory.
Because it's kind of like, for a very long time, Baldur's Gate 2 for me was like my favorite CRPG of all time. Very long time. Baldur's Gate 3 was the first CRPG that managed to take off Baldur's Gate 2 and top it. And it's not because it has Baldur's Gate in the name. I didn't even know who Larian Studios was before Baldur's Gate 3 was announced. And there had been a lot of games that had come close, like Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire, that came really close to knocking Baldur's Gate 2 off. That's always been a great game to me because of a lot of emotions I have associated with Baldur's Gate 2 and just the fun I had playing that, learning Forgotten Realms. I was deep into the books at the time. I was deep into the Dragonlance books at the time. So when I played Baldur's Gate 2, there was a huge amount of emotional charge around that game that kept me locked on it for 15, 20 years or whatever it was. But eventually I was like, you know what? There has been a better game. And Baldur's Gate 3, I think, is a better game in every way than Baldur's Gate 2. So when I look at MMOs, I have MMOs that I have very fond memories of, but I know that they will eventually be topped because it's just the nature of the technology that we have in today's world allows games to get better and better and better and better every single year. There is absolutely no other ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like all these people who claim that games suck today, it's all trash. Bullshit. The physics that these engines can do in 2025 compared to 1995, compared to 2005, compared to 2015, allows them to create bigger and better and bolder and cooler games every single year. Like, we didn't have voiceovers when I played Myst back in 1993 or whenever it was. Like, it's mind-boggling these days that we get those types of experiences, and it's just getting better. And VR, something VR will eventually come along and dominate for me personally. Rambling answer. I love Lord of the Rings Online. It is extremely dated. The game looks 20 years old. It doesn't have a lot of voiceovers. But what it does have is I can go to Middle Earth, and everything I read about in the books, everything I've ever read about since I was 5 years old and first read The Hobbit, I can go look at, I can touch it, digitally speaking, of course, but I can immerse myself in Middle Earth, and it is a phenomenal representation. And being able to visit locations from The Hobbit and see like the 3 stone trolls that got turned to stone when Bilbo was on his way to Rivendell with the dwarves, and that moment, that scene from the books, and to be able to go to that location in the game world with my Hobbit character or any other character has always been extremely special to me. Being able to go to the Misty Mountains, the first time I found Gollum's cave down in the Goblin City, that was hugely emotional for me. Just like the coolest, like, oh my god, this is awesome. Like the fact that artists took time to make that happen and then put it in such a way that it's completely hidden unless you, as a Lord of the Rings nerd, go into the Goblin City and go looking for these types of things. Because the gamers of the world are never going to find that shit. And it's not going to make it any less of a game. But the thing I love about Lord of the Rings Online is they have taken the time to put that sort of stuff in there because it's book specific. It's based on the books. They have a huge love of the books. So the game has always been my favorite MMO for that reason. But a close second for me is Star Wars Old Republic. Because it's, again, I know that world. Star Wars. The first time I heard the lightsaber it's chills up my spine, and it will continue to give me chills up my spine until I'm in the grave. Like smugglers and princesses and good versus evil and you know, when I was however old I was, 3 years old, 4 years old, first time I ever saw those movies, and I remember being terrified of like the Rancor, and also being terrified of the Wampa. I had nightmares about the Wampa when I was very young, and still love those movies, every minute of them. And so when I was able to finally, you know, Star Wars Galaxies was good, but it didn't hold the same place for me as Star Wars Old Republic. Old Republic is fully voiced, 100% cinematic. It is an absolute. It's like sitting down to watch an episode of the Clone Wars every single time you sit down and play Star Wars Old Republic, because you're literally stepping into a fully cinematic, fully voiced, cartoonish art style. Yes, but like if you like the Clone Wars TV show, it's that level of, you know, quality, and you can jump in and have these amazing adventures on, how many planets are in the game now? 50 planets? I don't know. There's a lot of planets. You can go to a lot of places. And if you know the Star Wars lore, and if you love Star Wars, holy shit, that is a game, man. It's good. Anyway, that's the rambling answer. And you have another question, which I just saw pop up. Well, somebody else did. I don't know if it's the same person. The next, hang on, let me timestamp this because I'll get sidetracked. That was 20, 40, and favorite MMO. And then the next question is tab combat. Do I miss tab combat in MMOs, or are you for action? Oh, fuck tab targeting. I do not miss tab targeting at all. That's one of the reasons I don't enjoy playing Lord of the Rings Online that much anymore, because I've done it for so many years, but that's one of the areas where the game has not modernized at all. I don't like tab targeting. If tab targeting to me is like turn-based combat, and it's okay if you like it. I don't mind it from time to time, but I don't enjoy it enough to want to be that, go play those things for hundreds of hours anymore. I will play the occasional turn-based game on my channel, but I've always preferred real-time with pause, and I like action combat. But I also don't play games for combat, so I'm probably the wrong person to talk about that, because I play games for stories, and so, like, as an example, this game has action combat, right? I don't like the combat in this game. I just think it's just not an exciting. But here's the thing: combat in the Elder Scrolls games have never, ever, 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 ever been the primary reason that these games are successful. These games are successful because of the stories, the voiceovers, the music, the lore, the world building, the role-playing that players can have, and the modding scenes. That's what the Elder Scrolls games are known for. Not, oh my god, they have Dark Souls combat that evolves from game to game and it's the best thing ever. Nah, it's a very simplistic, action-based combat system, and I find it meh. Like, but here's the thing, I just don't give a fuck. Like, Wrothgar has been the coolest thing I've seen in Elder Scrolls Online so far. The music is part of what's, like, crushing it for me, but also the snowy atmosphere. I love the clans. Like, the orc clans have been really cool to interact with. Like, this is a phenomenal, right here, this DLC is a phenomenal representation of what makes an Elder Scrolls game really fun. And I've seen a lot of people who are like, I just couldn't get into ESO for some odd reason. And I always come back to, you need to try harder, because if you play this game like a single player game, which is what I'm doing, and you ignore all the MMO stuff, because it's 100% optional, you will be playing a massive Elder Scrolls game, where each DLC represents 20-30 hours of minimum of, like, immersive story. Immersive story where you're going to be off on this adventure, and you'll probably have companions, like meeting, I'm forgetting her name right now, Aviri, the elf archer girl. Like, she's been the coolest companion I've seen so far in this game. So, like, anyway, action combat, but not, here's the thing, action combat is fun. What I don't find fun is Dark Souls combat. So I like action combat, but I don't like the type of combat where if I miss a button press, I'm gonna die. That shit drives me nuts. Because I'm older, slower, my reaction times, I often play a little medicated. Little bit of Santa salad before I start in the morning. So I am not in any place to be, like, jumping around the screen mashing buttons that have to be precision presses. That ain't happening. So the moment you make me do precision button pressing, I lose the plot and I don't play those games for that reason. But I do quite enjoy, actually I prefer action combat over tab. You know what's one of my favorite is Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor have some of the coolest fucking combat in recent games. Some of that is because of my love of Star Wars, but there is something extremely satisfying about wielding a lightsaber, deflecting blaster bolts, throwing your lightsaber, pushing enemies off of cliffs, pulling enemies to and like stabbing your lightsaber into them, or like pulling them in and then pushing them away um, as an object that you can use. Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor had just some of my favorite action combat of recent years. And I love the fact that it has adjustable difficulty so that I can go in, and the first time I play the game, I play it on story mode so that I can just absorb the cutscenes and all the amazing talent that are on screen and the VFX and the writing, and I just want to immerse myself in that experience. And if you have a stupid force-fed combat system, I'm going to immediately be taken out of the story. So I like it when that first playthrough is just like super easy, casual, just having fun with it, pushing enemies off cliff. You know, we're cutting bad guys up with a lightsaber, chopping up spiders, you know. And then when you go back and you do your second playthrough, oh, let's crank that difficulty up. And now we get into a little bit more, you got to be more precise with your timing. Enemies hit harder, you have to dodge a little bit more. And then if you really get into it, you can take it up and have like a Dark Souls experience with the Jedi games. Same with like God of War and God of War Ragnarok. Those games both had exceptionally fun action combat systems that did not rely upon you needing to be a precision button pressing god. Like you could just go in there and button mash and blow shit up and throw your axe around and do your shield charges. And
Narcotic, have you been drinking again?
I drank just the right
those are the
amount.
types of action combat games that I prefer way more than tab targeting. So, like, this game's okay. Oh, I did something naughty last night, Allie, by the way. I reinstalled Skyrim. I watched Babylonia play, and I was like, I bought the Anniversary Edition when I got my Series X like 4 or 5 years ago, and I never played it through. I did like 4 or 5 hours and was like, okay, I don't have the time for this. But I went ahead and installed it last night, and I'm just looking at it going, there's no fucking way I have time for this, but God, wouldn't it be fun? And I will find a way to do something. I don't know what it is yet. But I also just reinstalled Tainted Grail last night. Somebody just asked me about Tainted Grail. Yes, I will be. At least that's the plan. I don't think I can. Yeah, I'll wait. We'll see. I did quite enjoy Tainted Grail. I plan on playing the DLC. Yes. It's gonna be on the Xbox. I think I can say this without getting in trouble. I did get an early access. The guys over at Awakened Realms are really cool. They made the announcement the other day, so I think I'm okay to say this now that they've got the dates and stuff out there. I have a copy that I could give away. It was a copy for me, but I'm allowed to give it away. And the reason I say I'm just going to give it away is because I don't want to. The early access, that they can't do early access on consoles, and I played my game on the Xbox, so I actually have an early access to the DLC right now, along with a copy of the game for Steam that I'll be giving away at some point. So stay tuned for that, because someone's gonna win a copy of Awakened Grail plus the DLC when we get to that point. But I'm waiting for them to get the console codes ready to go, because I'm gonna play mine on the Xbox. So I reinstalled. It's actually installing right now. I started reinstalling Tainted Grail this morning. So last night I did Skyrim, and this morning I did Tainted Grail. Tainted Grail is a good example of another Skyrim-like, Elder Scrolls-like combat system. I would say I feel like the combat is a little more meaty in Tainted Grail than it is in the Elder Scrolls games, especially if we're talking ESO. Like, ESO is extremely low-key. But again, adjustable difficulties and all that stuff. So, yeah, we'll be back in Tainted Grail here in like a week, I think. That's one of the games I talked about in my scheduled video when I was like, hey guys, there's some stuff coming up the pipeline for the 15th. That was one of the things. I can say it now that they've announced it. I don't have time for Hogwarts Legacy, Gustav, but I did play that game earlier this year for about 40 hours and had a great time. My sister-in-law is completely hooked on it right now. This is not where I'm supposed to be. Oh, hang on. Speaking of which, I need a timestamp.
Are you all right?
What are you talking about? I'm not drunk. I think you're drunk.
Roboter says, did you see Meta's AI data center neighbor complaining about lack of water in their households due to the massive input of water that the New York data center has? No, I did not. But that totally sounds like legit, like...
True in your time as much as in mine.
I mean, there's always been stories of people, like, if you live near a power station, like, you're gonna have a hard time sleeping. Because the hum of electricity is constant. Like, the crackling and just, there's always electrical stuff happening. And so there's always background noise. So I can imagine living next to a data center, yeah. Lights and sounds and... Yeah, I didn't finish it, but I did play it. Yeah, there's like I didn't finish, but I did play, I don't know, like 40 hours or so. There's like 60 some episodes on YouTube. I ran out of time. That's what happens when I start a lot of when I play older games and stuff like that. When new releases come along, I have to go play the new releases. So sometimes the old replays or the older games don't get finished. Not often, but sometimes.
You're a little late. They just left me here to die.
It's hard when it's like a 60+ hour game. Like my Cyberpunk 2077 playthrough, that got sidetracked. It totally got put on hold, which was my third playthrough, but just going through for funsies over the holidays. The reason it got sidetracked, Ubisoft reached out and wanted to work with me on Anno 117, and then North Beach Games reached out and wanted to work with me on Lord of the Rings Return to Moria. Awakened Realms reached out and said, hey, do you want to do the DLC for Tainted Grail? So it's like every week I get something comes along that I'm like, I'll definitely take advantage of that. Yeah, I'll totally do that. Yeah, let's do that. And sometimes, despite best intentions, older playthroughs and or second, third playthroughs get sidetracked. I have started a third playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3 3 fucking times. And I've never managed to pull it off. I've done 3 characters now, like 20-30 hours into the game, and I've gotten sidetracked every time because it's like, shit, I gotta go over here and play these new games.
I was running messages for the cute wood elf and the grumpy orc. When I returned, the soldiers rushed in, stabbed me.
Alright, where are they at?
They never saw it coming. The soldiers grabbed the orc chief and the elf, took them away by the order of the
I
king.
told you the king was behind this, Saul. I told you he was a psychopath.
Just in the way.
Like, I started suspecting it's got to be him, unless there's like some super reveal that's going to happen and it's not the king but somebody very close to him. Alright, good morning, Shiny. Savannah says, that's awesome that you play Skyrim. It's one of my fave. Well, this isn't Skyrim. This is Elder Scrolls Online. Yep. did suspect the king. Yeah, the Shadow of Mordor games, Assassin's Creed games, those are other great examples of really fun action combats. For sure. Alright, I'm gonna grab another cup of coffee. I'll be right back. I am really looking forward to, speaking of Hogwarts, they just announced, so the new initiative that bought EA, excuse me, that initiative just put $100 million into funding a third-person Lord of the Rings third-person Lord of the Rings game in the vein of Hogwarts Legacy. All that press just went out over the last couple of days. So we can expect to see some sort of Lord of the Rings game in the next 3 to 5 years in the vein of Hogwarts Legacy. I'm extremely excited about that. I can always dive into more Lord of the Rings content. Alright, we now need to go. At the moment, guys, it does look like there's something going on with YouTube. I don't know what it is. All I know is if I go to YouTube right now, it says YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffing. It's not on my end, because I'm looking at the bitrate over on Twitch. The bitrate is fine. So it's one of two things, guys. It's either YouTube servers. Yeah, Twitch is okay, Kick is okay, TikTok is fine. It's a YouTube thing. So either there's an issue with my Streamlabs, the Streamlabs API between it and YouTube, or YouTube's servers for streaming are having an issue. So it may be that the YouTube stream cuts out at some point this morning. I don't know yet. But as always, I am live on Twitch and Kick as well as TikTok. So if something happens, you'll still be able to maintain watching while I sort out whatever is the issue, if I can sort it out. Occasionally shit just cuts out. Sometimes it's software, sometimes it's hardware. Roberta says Kick seems fine. Yeah. It's a thing. Every once in a while. Marcus says I'm also playing Tamriel. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. The funny thing to me is remembering back when we used to have to travel without Wi-Fi on a plane, and how amazing that experience was. And now, in 2025, if I don't have access to Wi-Fi on a plane, I get extremely grumpy if the Wi-Fi isn't working. Like, God damn it, I need my internet. So it's frustrating, yeah, when things start hiccuping and not working.
Ah, my favorite problem handler has returned. Have you come to see what you accomplished? Thanks to you, the clan chiefs have gathered to hear what I have to say. This is going to be a moot that all of Wrothgar won't soon forget.
Unfortunately, I gotta talk to you about something, bro.
That sounds serious. But this is a time for celebration. The next age of the Orsimer people begins today.
So this is where I found out if it was him or if it's someone acting in his name. Why did you send soldiers to the inn?
You dare to question my actions? To imply that I don't have the best interests of my people in mind? If you must know, we received word of the location of the traitors. I sent my soldiers to capture them for interrogation.
What's up, Glyph? Did you know your soldiers were infiltrated by the Voshrock?
What? How dare you spread such false accusations? Has Bosrog filled your head with more of his Malakath lies? I won't hear such things. Not on the verge of my greatest victory.
Yeah, where are Chief Bosrog and Evely?
More questions? You're beginning to try my patience. But let's not talk about such matters in front of the clan chiefs. Meet me down in the dining hall and we can continue this discussion in private.
It will be highly unlikely that it will have any sort of pub ale drinking experience for the same reason that Tales of the Shire didn't have any pub ale drinking experiences. Or, you know, Hogwarts Legacy doesn't have any pub drinking experiences. Butterbeer is not the same thing. Games that are looking, you know, the games that cost $250+ million to build are maximizing their profits. I'd be willing to bet that they make a family-friendly version of the upcoming Lord of the Rings game, so that it's something that can be played by anybody. Across all platforms.